another guest that's just going to briefly give his thought process. He was in the world of swimming. Gary Hall Jr., I call sort of the godfather of swimming, or the godfather of modern biomechanics. He was able to overcome a diagnosis of diabetes and still end up with a gold medal, and was quite outspoken about doping, and had some technical things that I'm sure every athlete had to deal with when the new, more buoyant bathing suits came out. Gary, are you able to give your thought process on an equal playing field for athletes?
Yeah, I can speak really only to the swimsuit technology that skewed the results tremendously in the sport of swimming. And the swimsuit manufacturers wait until an Olympic year, every quadrennial, to make a big marketing push. The latest technology. We've partnered with NASA to come up with a fabric that mimics the shark skin, or blah, blah, blah. And typically, was there much benefit to it? I usually dismissed it until the suits around 2008. Just before the 2008 trials and Olympics, these speed suits emerged. And what they did was created buoyancy. And the great swimmers in the sport relied upon perfect technique in order to create a planing effect across the top of the water. And what these suits provided was that planing effect without the technique. And so what was a sport that was always a balanced strength to weight ratio suddenly was skewed, and that you had this, especially in the power events, the sprints, the short distance events, the physique of the swimmers in the finals for the 2008 games changed dramatically. The bulkier, stronger power swimmers that weren't so advanced in technique excelled with this new technology. So that changed it. FINA, the international governing body, had opened up this can of worms by allowing it. First, they reveled in the amount of world records being broken. They were falling left and right in every single event across the board. Some of those records still stand. Incredibly talented guys that are so far ahead of the rest of the field. Caleb Dressel, as an example, still haven't managed to break those speed records, though he's getting close. And though I do believe eventually they will fall, it was a technology introduced that changed the game. And FINA ultimately had to go back and ban the suits, even after these world records were set. So it's a bit of an asterisk mark with those records that were set from that era.
Well, you open up a whole new discussion on the balance, as you mentioned, because balance in swimming also translates to balance in running, with both the sprints and the distance events. Of course, the shoes over many miles will become a factor, but then, you know, there's ideas about some of the things, even with some of the middle distance and sprint events, where shoes and the friction coefficients, et cetera, may have had a mechanical advantage. Before we let you get kind of back to diabetes homeostasis, and I appreciate that you're doing this with a low blood sugar, final thought on when people had the opportunity to be given these special suits ahead of, let's say, whether it be by country and or by other organization that was a sponsored, you know, special access type thing. I don't know how much that these were released at once, or was there a competitive advantage to, you know, going to some of the top athletes? Not necessarily, you know, I don't know who those would be, but like, I can see that may have tipped the balance in terms if they're literally rolling these out right before an Olympiad to try out, or in secret in training with certain athletes. just comment briefly on that, because you might know more than the average person on the other end of technology would know in terms of how that actually goes down.
Yeah, they get suits into the hands of the top athletes sponsored by their company with enough time that they're able to try it out in practice and experiment with it, which was the case before the 2008 games. But anybody that had a shot at medaling in those games had access to the suit. Any of the finalists, any of the semifinalists, they all had access to the suit. There may have been, third world countries or something that may not have had access, but their chances of winning a medal, the suit wasn't going to make that difference.
And with regards to you as a personal athlete, knowing the rules, whether it be a substance that you're ingesting or a piece of equipment, where do you think the onus is? Is it with the coaches, or is it with the athlete themselves, or both?
Well, it just needs to be a level playing field. I mean, if a 5-inch sole is better than a 2-inch sole, I don't know, as long as everybody can wear heels in the running race,
right?
Let them do it. But I think that my saying was always, it's the swimmer in the suit, not the suit on the swimmer. But it changed in 2008. It changed my mind on that. That the technology can have a major impact, and especially if it negates a technique that takes years and years and years and years and years to hone and develop.
Yes,
and it negates all of that. Then then it just becomes a brute strength contest, like shot put or something like that.
That is a great perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that thought. And later I will share with you. Benno's got some great thoughts on the ride of heel toe progression, on how that makes a big difference in developing diabetic ulcers. So off camera later, I'll share that information. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, Benno,
can't wait to hear about it.
Thank you, Gary.